Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, Masechtas Rosh Hashanah daf Yud Beis. We are going to begin on Yud Beis Amud Aleph, about 15 lines from the top, actually somewhere in the middle of the Amud, with the two dots of Lirakos, which is actually Lashon Rabbim. Now, when it comes to vegetables, that din, all the dinim that apply to Lirakos, is on the first of Tishrei. Now, Tana Lirakos ul Maisros Munidarim. The question is, why are all these things written in plural? So Lirakos, my ninhu, meiser, yarok. It's coming to tell you, it's referring to the meiser that a person takes off of vegetables. Says Rashi, Masi yarok inyan chadash v'yashan, shein tarmin mi yarok ha nilkat erev Rosh Hashanah al nilkat achar Rosh Hashanah. So if you gathered before or after Rosh Hashanah, you cannot have them mixed together. They have to be separate. So where it says, what do you mean? Ohani Meisers. That's the same thing as Meiser. So Tana the Rabbanan v'Katani deraisa. So it mentions there's certain foods in which is a chiv deraisa to take off, and Yerakos is din derabanan. But listed deraisa bereisha. So it should mention the deraisa first. So as we hear often, Aidi de chavivale akdama. Usually what happens is when it comes to a drasha, which comes from the Chachamim, that's something which is more chaviv to them, and therefore they will write even the din Rabbanan first. It says Rashi, Hishmiyacha sheish Rosh Hashanah kavul inin chadash v'yashan, b'maisi yarok, which is the Rabbanan, b'hadar tani maser dagan, becomes a grain, she'af lo yom kavul chadash v'yashan shalai. They also have a similar din. So this is all going to be question TB 28, which asks, TB 28 asks, Be'echa b'tishrei Rosh Hashanah liyarakos, madua nakat liyarakos vol maisros, and madua nakat liyarakos vol yarak. So the answer is, as we already established, Yarakos is telling you meiser rabbanan v'koshkin deraisa, v'kamash one trade gabi yarak, as we'll see in a second. We're going to see the second part in a second. The tani didan tani rabbanan v'koshkin deraisa. So we're listening meiser. So why don't we mention meiser? So echad meiser behema, echad meiser dagan. So the fact is, one is referring to Meiser Behema, and the other one is referring to Meiser Dagan. So listen to Yarak. So Trei Gabi Yarak did not. Yarak Hanegad, when it comes to vegetables which are bundled, so the din is Mishiyagit. So the Chiyuv is from the time that you bundle them together, says Rashi. V'asul echol mimenu arai ad shiaser. You're not allowed to eat something, even a chil arai, until you actually separate them. V'sheinu neged, if you do not have foods or vegetables that are typically bundled together, so the cutoff point is mishimale sakri, when it becomes into a pile, and that point already, that's when it's mechoyev in meiser. Tanurba. So that's the second part of question 28, is that haneged mishiyagid v'shenu neged mishimale hakri. Okay, Vaita Tanurba. Likate yarak erev Rosh Hashanah. Let's say a person gathers vegetables before Rosh Hashanah. Again, we said Rosh Hashanah, the first Tishrei is the cutoff point. Ad shul tabo hashemesh, before the sun sets. The chazar, then afterwards, after the sun has set, and it's Rosh Hashanah, Kate, and it's gathered up, as we continue the Yud Beis Amud Beis, mishetabo hashemesh, after the sun is set. So the Gemara says, Ein tarminu masu mizel zeh. You're not to separate them together. Now, the starting off question is, what are you talking about? A person is removing fruits and vegetables on Rosh Hashanah. So Tosfos over here on the top says B'Yerushalmi Mukila B'Nachri. Okay, a Nachri did it. Amiral Akum. Okay, Ayin Tosfos. So why can't you combine them? They have to be for each separate year. You can't separate new and old. So therefore, whatever was from before Rosh Hashanah, that is a separate tithing from after. That's one important detail. And im hoisa shniya, let's say it's the second year of the Shemitah cycle, in which normally the din is, and it's nechnesses l'shlishis, and then after Rosh Hashanah it's the third year. So shniya meiser rishon, we always know that you always have to give meiser rishon. 10% is given to the Levi. Meiser sheni, and on year 1, 2, 4, and 5, in this case year 2, meiser sheni, 10% is brought to Yerushalayim. Shlishis meiser rishon and meiser ani. So when it comes to the third year, it's going to no longer really be giving Meiser Sheni, but instead you give Meiser Ani, you give that 10% to the poor. So Minna Hanimili. So how do we know all this? So Rabbi Shimon Levi, the pasuk says, "Kisekala aser es kol maaser tivuoscha mashana shlishis." When you complete separating the meiser of your grain on the third year, shnatza meiser, shana she'ein ba elo meiser echad. So it means a year in which there's only one meiser. So there's a okay. So what does that mean? Meiser rishon and meiser ani. It's referring to meiser rishon, which is always, and then meiser ani, and meiser sheni yavatelo. You don't do meiser sheni because it's the third year. Oh, enu ella av meiser rishon nami yavatel. Maybe it's coming to tell you that you don't have to do meiser rishon either, which of course we know it's not true. We always give off meiser rishon. So Talmud Lemer, the pasuk says in Bamidbar, ve'el halavim tedaber, to the Levim you speak, ve'amarta lehem, say to them, ki sichu meis b'nei Yisrael as meiser asher nosatolchem. When you take the meiser that is given to you, which is the meiser rishon, mi'itam b'nachlaschem, it should be considered to be to you as an inheritance. So ikishu hakasav b'nachla, ma nachla ein lo hefsek av meiser rishon ein lo hefsek. So when it comes to a inheritance, that's something in which there's no time that doesn't take place. There's no hefsek, there's no break-off point. So too, when it comes to meiser rishon, it always exists. And therefore, what is the thing that's not done that's meiser sheni instead of meiser ani? Question TA 26. Elu beis nafkamin is ladina yesh Rosh Hashanah meiser. So what are the two differences, or important ideas? First of all, shin masrin mizel zeh, and nafkamina he meiser sheni or meiser ani. Okay, depending on what year it is. Tanya nami hachi, reading on the side. Ki sechal as v'gaimers, we quote the whole pasuk. Shen ba ella meiser echad. HaKetzad, similar as we said, meiser rishon, meiser sheni, meiser ani, which is the third year. Meiser sheni yavatel. So yachal meiser rishon nami yavatel. Maybe meiser rishon doesn't take place in year 3. Talmud Lemer. And here we have another pasuk in this time in Devarim. Uva halevi, and the Levi will come. It's kol zman shabai, when he comes specifically for the meiser rishon, tain lo, give it to him. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, and therefore it's basically saying that whenever he comes, you have to give to him, no matter what year. Rabbi Elazar and Yaakov Omer Enosar. You don't need a pasuk for this. Hare who Omer, it says ve'el hovim tedab be'marta lehem ki sicho meis b'nei Yisrael as meiser asher nesatlechem mitel menachalaschem ki shechasol menachal menachal ein lo hefsek av meiser rishon ein lo hefsek. So basically, he's saying you don't need this pasuk because we can derive it from the pasuk we saw before. And then the Gemara says on Nidarim. Also, when it comes to Nidarim, also Rosh Hashanah is the cutoff point. Tanabam. Hamudar hanam chavera. A person says, I do not wish to derive any benefit from you, and he says this lashana. This will take place for the period of an entire year. So the din is, we count 12 months. So whatever day he did it, it's 12 months later, which is the same thing we basically said, the same lashon when it came to renting houses. If you stipulate the lashon zu for this year, afilu amad el b'esmetish be'el, even if it's the 29th of El, right before Rosh Hashanah. Kivan shegi yom echa b'tishrei, once Tishrei came, also loishana. It's a year. So even one day is enough that it's considered already a year. Now, normally there are opinions that say one day doesn't count as a whole year. So what they say? No, still not disagree here, because l'tsuri nafshi kabale, to hurt himself is what he was makabel, and he caused tsar. So therefore, there's no reason to say that it was for a longer period of time. It's possible even for a shorter period of time, even for a day. The aim Nisan ben Nedarim. So the question is, how do we know that we go Basar Rosh Hashanah and Tishrei? Maybe we should say it's actually Nisan. So we say ben Nedarim halachach lashman diyadam. We always go Basar the way that people speak. Tanan Hasam. We learned over there. So look at Rashi. Lashman diyadam. Shein adam noider el lashon shu ragul ladavar. V'derech b'nei adam likros Tishrei Rosh Hashanah. People call Tishrei as Rosh Hashanah, so therefore it must be that. Okay. Tanan Hasam. So we learned over there. Hatiltan, which is a feta Greek, which is a type of, Rashi says, mintav, type of spice. For that matter, once you have this mishatitzmach, it's considered from the time that it sprouts That is the chiv of meiser, and we don't go basil with kitasai, the time it's actually plucked. Hatavu, when it comes to grain, vazesim alves mishiavu shlish. It's once it's grown a third. So my mishatatzmiach. What does it mean regarding the fenugreek from the time it sprouts? Mishatatzmach lazeroyim. It means that it's sprouting forth with seeds. Says Rashi, shazera sameach b'tochel. That seeds are sprouting forth in it. Hatvu vazesim, as we said, mishiavu shlish is a third growth. Minahadim so Omer Rav Asi Omer Rav Yochanan. Umataba Mishmei Rav Yossi Aguli Omer Kra, the pasuk says, Mikate Shemashana b'Moyin Shnas Hashmita. It says regarding the pasuk of Hakel, it says the end of after the 7th year, with the Shemitah year, with the holiday B'Chag Sukkos, Shnas Hashmita. So my videte B'Chag Sukkos. So what exactly is this doing over here? Well, look at Rashi. Likros Chag HaSukkos Shivasos Shevash Shanim Shnas HaShmita Hari Kvar Yatza HaShmita Rosh Hashanah Kvar Nechnas HaShminas. Why do we call Sukkos the end of the 7th year? It's really Rosh Hashanah is the end of the 7th year. So why is it Chag HaSukkos? So it's Shminasi. It's already the 8th year. It's not the Shemitah year anymore. Now Lamelchad comes to tell you Kol Tavua Shavu Shlish B'Shvius. Any thing that grew 1/3 B'Shvius during the Shemitah year, Lifnei Rosh Hashanah, before Rosh Hashanah, Ata Noig B'Y Minhag Shvius B'Shminas. You have to be Noig the Minhag of Shvius even into the 8th year. Says Rashi, B'Hachik Kamakra, Yeshacha Davar Shehu Shel Shminas. There's some things that are even the 8th year, but who Aser, they're still Aser, Kishivius, just like the 7th year. Is this Zu Tavua Shavu Shlish? That's Tavua that already grew a third. So we're going to see why it's a third, but the point is that once it's grown a third during that year, so therefore even in the 8th year, it's Aser. So that's what it's coming to allude to. Okay, we're going to continue, we're going to stop there because we're kind of in the middle of this, but nonetheless we'll pick it up next time. Adkan.